The morning was quiet, just the way I liked it. The water in the marina sparkled as the sun made its way over the horizon, casting a golden light across the boats. My boat, a trusty 28-footer that had been in the family for years, was tucked securely in its slip. I had spent hours over the weekend polishing the hull and checking the lines. It was a Saturday, and as usual, I was the first one to arrive. I was tying up some loose ends when I heard the sound of high heels clicking against the wooden docks. I looked up to see a woman, striding toward my slip, clipboard in hand, looking like she meant business. At first, I didn't recognize her, but then it hit me. She was one of the members of the Homeowners Association from the neighboring development. We've had some issues with them in the past, and I was already bracing for another confrontation. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice sharp, "but you need to move your dock lines. They're not properly secured." She looked at my boat like she was inspecting a piece of livestock. I blinked, trying to process what she was saying. I had been docking boats for over 30 years. The lines were fine. They'd held up through storms, high winds, and all sorts of challenges the marina could throw at them. "Ma'am, these lines are fine," I replied, trying to stay calm. "They've been here for years." She shook her head dismissively. "No, they're not. They're not in compliance with marina regulations." She pulled out her clipboard and started scribbling something, like she was writing me up for some imagined infraction. I could feel my blood pressure rising, but I didn't want to cause a scene. "I don't know what you're talking about," I said. "I've been here long enough to know how to secure a boat. If there's a problem, you'll have to take it up with the marina office. I'm not going to move my lines just because you say so." She didn't seem to care about my refusal. "I'm just doing my job," she said, barely looking at me as she started walking around my boat, inspecting every inch of it. She was moving my dock lines as though they were her personal property. I felt a surge of frustration. No one tells me how to secure my boat, and certainly not someone who has no idea what she's talking about. Before I could say anything else, she turned to me with a self-satisfied look. "I've corrected them. Now everything's in order." She smiled, as though I should be grateful to her. My mouth was dry, and I was just about to say something I might regret when I heard a voice from behind me. "Is there a problem here?" I turned to see the marina manager, Rick. He had been the manager here for as long as I could remember, and he knew me well. If anyone was going to straighten this out, it was him. The HOA woman's demeanor immediately changed, and she straightened up, as though she was suddenly under scrutiny. "She's moving my dock lines," I said, trying to stay calm. "And she insists they're not secure when they've been fine for years." Rick gave her a look. "Ma'am, with all due respect, we don't interfere with the docking arrangements unless there's a safety issue. And I've never seen a safety issue with these lines." The woman's face flushed, but I was told that the lines needed to be adjusted for safety reasons. The HOA has strict guidelines for dock management, and I was simply doing my job. Rick's eyebrows shot up. "The HOA has guidelines." "Sure, but those guidelines, Dan T, give you the authority to come down here and start rearranging things on someone else's boat. If there's a real safety issue, you need to talk to me first. I'm the one who manages this marina, and I'm the one who approves changes. And from what I can see, there's no issue here." I could feel the tension slowly draining from my shoulders. This wasn't the first time the HOA had overstepped their bounds, but it was the first time someone from the office had tried to pull something like this at the docks. The woman's face turned a shade of red that matched the marina's flag. "I was just trying to help," she said, but there was no conviction in her voice. Rick wasn't having it. "Well, if you want to help, ma'am, you can start by respecting the marina's authority," Rick said, his voice firm but polite. "I'll be the one to issue any warnings or corrections around here. You, Don T, have the right to interfere with people's boats unless there's a legitimate concern." The woman opened her mouth to argue, but Rick didn't give her the chance. He turned to me and said, "We'll get this sorted out. Don't worry about it." Then, turning back to the woman, he added, "I'll be sending you a reminder about marina policies. If you have any concerns, you can bring them directly to me next time." The woman stood there for a moment, looking like she had just been caught red-handed. She let out a huff, muttered something about needing to report the incident, and walked away, leaving Rick and me alone on the dock. Rick turned to me and gave me a grin. "Well, that was fun. You know, I've had a few run-ins with that lady before. She thinks the marina belongs to her HOA or something." I laughed, feeling the weight of the morning's tension finally lift. "Yeah, it sure seemed like she thought she had some special authority around here. Don't worry, I'll make sure she gets the message. The marina office is the final word on these things, not anyone from the HOA." I nodded, feeling a little more at ease. I wasn't going to let one pushy person ruin my morning. The rest of the day went smoothly, and by the time I was heading back to the house, I felt a sense of satisfaction. The marina had my back, and the HOA Karen had learned a valuable lesson in staying in her lane. That evening, I sat on the porch with a cold drink in hand, reflecting on the day. There's something about owning a boat that brings out the best in people. It's a life of independence, where you're the captain, and no one else tells you what to do. But sometimes, the real battles are fought on the docks, not out on the water. If you've ever dealt with an overzealous HOA or had someone try to take control of your space, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to hear your stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more real-life stories and advice from the Marina. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.